Hello and welcome to Module 3, Chapter 4.3. In this presentation, we will explore the principles of facilitation and what tools facilitators can use when facilitating PLA-MNH groups. This presentation is split into 4 sections. First, we will consider responsibilities, knowledge and skills that PLA-MNH group facilitators need to facilitate these groups. Next, we will explore the principles of facilitation and how facilitation differs from teaching. And then we will also explore a set of tools that facilitators can use when facilitating PLA-MNH groups to overcome challenges. Fourth, we will cover what to do next after reviewing this presentation. And finally, we will also give you guidance on how to get answers to any questions you might have. Let us consider the responsibilities, knowledge, and skills that PLA-MNH group facilitators need in order to facilitate these groups. As presented previously, PLA-MNH group facilitators are critical and central to the success of the PLA-MNH group approach. They are the members of the program implementation team most directly involved in supporting PLA groups to achieve their objectives. To do this, PLA-MNH group facilitators have 4 key responsibilities. 1. Facilitating the PLA-MNH group action cycle. 2. Reporting on PLA-MNH group progress. 3. Linking PLA-MNH groups. And 4. Building capacity of PLA-MNH group committees. In Chapter 4.3, we are concerned specifically with building capacities in relation to the first responsibility, facilitating the PLA-MNH group cycle. There are 3 knowledge and skill areas that are critical for PLA-MNH group facilitators to deliver this responsibility effectively. 1. Maternal and newborn health knowledge. 2. Facilitation skills. And 3. Knowledge of the PLA-MNH group action cycle. In Chapter 4.3, we will specifically explore facilitation skills. Let us start by exploring the principles of facilitation and how facilitation differs from teaching. Facilitation is encouraging all members of a group to participate so that they can achieve something together. This approach encourages all members of a group to participate because it assumes that everyone has knowledge and a valuable contribution to make. The facilitator's role is to encourage every member of the group to contribute to the best of their ability. But why is participation so important? We facilitate in order to encourage people to participate. But why is participation in PLA-MNH groups so important? Individuals in a community have their own knowledge and experiences, but one individual cannot hold all the knowledge and experiences by themselves. In a group, each individual can share their knowledge and experience with other individuals. This means that collectively, as a group, their knowledge and experiences increases, and with that, so does their ability to understand and respond to a situation. That is why participation of these individuals in a group is so important. Together they learn from each other and act together. The PLA-MNH facilitator has an important role, and that is to draw out knowledge and ideas from different members of a group, and once again to help encourage them to learn from each other and to think and act together. The facilitator does this by facilitating. We will now explore the principles of facilitation a bit further. To give you an idea of what facilitation is, it is easy to compare it to a style that the PLA facilitators might be more familiar with, namely teaching. There are differences between facilitation and teaching that help to understand this better. We will go through these differences step by step. First of all, traditional teaching involves the sharing of knowledge and information from teacher to student. The teacher imparts their knowledge to their students. It is a one-way direction. However, facilitation encourages the sharing of knowledge and information in several directions, all learning from each other. Both facilitators and teachers motivate people. However, facilitators focus more on motivating people to learn from each other, whereas a teacher focuses more on motivating the students to learn from them as teachers, and to motivate them to learn what they are being taught. It is important that the PLA-MNH facilitator builds a good relationship of trust with the group members, so that the group members feel comfortable to share their knowledge, experiences, hopes, concerns, and ideas. The PLA-MNH facilitators can do this by, for example, using local words or asking questions in a sensitive way. Also, a facilitator builds on the knowledge of the group, and the facilitator might not know everything. They are not the experts, whereas a teacher is the expert and is the one who knows all of the information. The PLA-MNH facilitator will often summarize and draw together the different ideas and information shared by the group members. The third important difference to highlight between facilitation and teaching is that a facilitator is there to guide and facilitate the group to decide what they want to do. By guiding the group to learn from each other, the PLA-MNH facilitator is encouraging the group members to think and act together. It is the group members that decide what actions they will take, not the facilitator. A teacher, on the other hand, decides what the students are doing. A teacher is seen as in charge. A facilitator will often be a peer from the community and will sit with the group to encourage discussion, whereas a teacher has a formal relationship with their students, where the teacher is in authority. A facilitator listens to, learns from, and respects each woman and community member. Listening to others shows that their opinions are valued. The PLA-MNH facilitator needs to be open to learning from group members and needs to ensure that group members listen to each other so that they all learn from each other. A teacher is more focused on ensuring that the students listen to their teacher than to each other, as the teacher is the expert and has all the information the students need to know. One of the greatest difficulties PLA-MNH facilitators can face is the temptation to take control of a discussion or change the process. This is often from a genuine desire to help the group move forward. If the facilitators are used to a formal teaching style and have not yet had the chance to observe good facilitators at work, it can be difficult to change their approach to sharing ideas. One way to encourage the group to take responsibility for its own learning and progress is to ask the group to write ground rules for participation so that each person feels free to share ideas. In Chapter 4.5, you will learn when there will be an opportunity in the PLA-MNH cycle to establish ground rules with the group members. Rules might include not allowing people to interrupt others while they are speaking to ensure that everyone in the group listens to each other. Another ground rule might be that the members of the group should respect different views. The facilitator's role is to build trust and respect between the members of the group. Being open to learning from group members will encourage dialogue and information sharing from which the whole group will benefit. Some PLA-MNH groups also agree on a maximum number of points that any person can make during a discussion. If the group agrees these ground rules, they have shared ownership and shared responsibility to ensure that they are respected. Now we will take a look at various tools that PLA-MNH facilitators can use to overcome any key challenges while facilitating PLA-MNH groups. It is important that members of the PLA-MNH groups participate and share their knowledge and experiences. Good facilitation of the PLA-MNH groups can increase participation. But good participation can be affected by certain challenges. For example, there might be a dominant member in the PLA-MNH group who makes it difficult for other members of the group to share their knowledge and experiences. In the next section, we will go through a number of challenges that the PLA-MNH facilitator can come up against while facilitating PLA-MNH groups. Good facilitation can help to overcome these challenges. The PLA-MNH facilitator can use various facilitation tools to help them respond to these challenges and address them. Addressing these challenges with good facilitation will lead to good participation. We discuss these tools with each challenge addressed in the next section. The most occurring challenges to participation that the facilitator can come up against when facilitating a PLA-MNH group are handling dominant people, working with shy people, managing conflict, and dealing with difficult questions. Let us first take a look at the challenge of handling dominant people in the group. Sometimes one person dominates the discussion, confident that they might have the right answers. A good facilitator needs to make sure that others have the opportunity to speak. There are different tools the facilitator can use to handle a dominant person. The first and foremost is that they should speak to the dominant person privately. The facilitator can then assure them that their input is valuable, but in the short time available, everyone needs to have an opportunity to speak. The other tools we will list now are useful tools not only for handling a dominant person in the group, but are good tips for facilitating any group meeting, even if there's no obvious dominant person in the group. A good facilitator needs to make sure that others have the opportunity to speak. They could either invite the group members to speak by calling their name, or split the group into smaller groups for discussions, which will allow more people to share their ideas and thoughts. Introduce a quota system in which each person is given 3 stones or pieces of paper, and they have to give 1 up every time they speak. When they have no more, they cannot speak again. Introduce a time limit in which each person can speak for a maximum of 1 minute before they hand over to another group member to speak. Or use a talking stick. Whoever is holding the stick can speak. When they have finished expressing their views, they pass the stick to anyone else who would like to speak. Instead of being dominant, some people may be shy or afraid to express their views in a group. This can be particularly difficult when discussing maternal and newborn health issues, as some women and adolescent girls may find it difficult to speak in front of others, particularly if they are family members. The most effective way of encouraging people who are shy or afraid is to make sure they know that their ideas and thoughts are important and of value. A PLA-MNH facilitator can do this by drawing on their ideas. In addition, a facilitator can either ask people to discuss questions first in pairs, which will make it easier for them to share their thoughts and ideas. Use other practical activities such as mapping, ranking, timelines, or drama to help people express their views. Shy participants might feel more at ease sharing their thoughts and ideas through such practical activities or through drama, where they are acting out a scenario rather than speaking aloud in the group. The facilitator can also speak separately to shy people after the meeting to gather their views and opinions, and to establish reasons for their silence. The facilitator can also give notice of the topic before the discussion in the upcoming meeting, so participants have time to prepare. The facilitator can also give them a responsibility, for example, responsibility of note-taking or summarizing the discussions to check everyone's understanding. It is important to give the shy participants time to grow their confidence to speak up. However, in particularly difficult cases, for example, when discussing a particularly sensitive topic, it may be necessary to hold separate meetings. Making this decision will result in increased workload for PLA-MNH facilitators, and should be carefully considered only after all other approaches listed above have been used. Facilitators will have to confirm this approach with their supervisors. Caution should be given to this approach, as it is important not to forget that the power of PLA-MNH lies in communities working together. Some people will have strong and conflicting ideas on a subject. Tension within the group will affect the way the group works together. A facilitator needs to be sensitive to possible tensions and encourage people to work through these, keeping their common goals and interests in mind. One tool for managing a conflict is to acknowledge the conflict. Conflict arises for a variety of reasons, and it is important to acknowledge it so that the group members feel their concerns are recognized. And remember, a diversity in views is not necessarily a bad thing. Every community will contain groups of people whose views might be in conflict. And most conflicts can be resolved if the following conditions are in place. People are prepared to listen to each other. Everyone's contribution to the debate is respected and valued, and those involved are willing to identify areas of common ground. Another tool is to establish the cause of the conflict. To prevent conflict occurring, it is important for the PLA-MNH facilitator to understand why it might be occurring in the first place. An understanding of the cause can inform how to resolve the conflict. Also, helping lead the participants to a place of agreement and encourage mutual respect. The PLA-MNH facilitator's role is to facilitate an agreement, and it is important for the facilitator to encourage people to identify common ground and, if differences persist, to encourage empathy about other people's perspectives. Or the PLA-MNH facilitator should ask people to refrain from discussing that topic during that PLA-MNH group meeting and to resolve the disagreement later, outside the group setting. If the conflict is not related to the topic being discussed, a good facilitator should ask people to put this to one side. Dealing with questions can be difficult. PLA-MNH facilitators may think they need to have all the answers. They may lack confidence in their ability to deal with questions on a particular subject. The difficult questions often fall into two categories. 1, questions on the group cycle, and 2, questions broadly related to the problems groups are working to overcome. It is essential that the PLA-MNH facilitators are familiar with the content of the training course as a whole. They can prepare for group discussions by reading the discussion material carefully and becoming familiar with the concepts and language. This will help the facilitator feel confident to answer questions related to the group cycle. The facilitators should consider which ideas or components of the group cycle might need further explanation when discussing them with the group. By anticipating people's questions, the facilitators can already think of possible responses. Facilitators can draw on the knowledge of members of the community outside of the immediate group, who may specialize in the topic being discussed. As mentioned earlier in this presentation, the facilitator is not a teacher nor an expert, so they are not expected to know everything on the problems that groups are working to overcome. They can draw on the expert knowledge of others. Facilitators should not be afraid to say that they do not know enough about a particular question to provide an answer. Again, the facilitator is not a teacher nor an expert, so they are not expected to know everything. They can say to the group members that they will look into it and get back to them with more information in the next meeting. It is helpful for them to know where to find more information or who to ask for more information. So what do you do now that you have reviewed this presentation? First, we recommend that you update the Module 3 Progress Tracker. Second, we encourage you to do exercise 4.3.1. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us by email or phone. One of the team will be more than happy to help. Enjoy the course.